Everyone. It is Elle, and I have been compelled, just as many of you, I'm sure, are, with the recent developments in the Nicola Bulley case. At least she's been found and her body can be put to rest, and I know all of us feel a good sigh of relief for that and for the family. What remains is a great mystery, though, and kind of a foot and mouth situation for the police. It's just really bizarre because here the whole time they were complaining about citizen sleuths and saying how they were mucking up the case and causing problems. And there was a lot of criticism for the people that were going there and getting involved. And in the end, the person who found her was someone who literally went there as a citizen sleuth to get involved, was not invited by the police, was not invited by the family, was a psychic medium. I don't know what he did to decide that that's the area that he should look, but he had a hunch and he went there, and evidently he found her, from what I'm hearing anyway. Jason Rothwell, I think is his name. If that's not, correct me. So the case just takes a turn after a turn after a turn because, you've got the police that did, I think, everything they could have trying to find her body. They searched by drones, they had the sonar, they brought the expert diver. I mean, they searched the area, the land around the river. They did do land searches around the river. They didn't go as far as I know a lot of us thought they should have right away. But the situation is that they did search the river as thoroughly as they could. Now, mind you, a river still moves at night. Things are happening while they're not there, and we have to take that into account. The theory about this case that really struck home with me, and you can give me your thoughts in the comments on whether you agree with this, disagree with this, or what your own theory is Paul Faulding, I think is his last name, the expert diver. He said she wasn't in there when he was looking in that area. She wasn't. And she probably wasn't. I mean, he's got pictures, cameras, and he's reviewed them. She's not there in the area where she was found. So, what happened? One of the explanations I heard him give as a possibility is that this river was a tidal river. No, I didn't even know what that was. I'm in the Midwest. There's no tidal rivers around here. But so I looked it up, and what it is it's a river that literally has a tide. So it comes in, and the water goes up, and it goes out, and the water goes down. And the best theory I think I've heard so far as to why her body wasn't found earlier and in certain places was that the water does come in. And as it goes back out, as we know, if you've been to the ocean or anywhere with a tide, things are left on shore. Things are left on the land, for lack of a better word. So things are put up on shore, the water goes back out, and then the water may come back in and take that thing on the shore that night or whenever the tide comes back in and take it back out with it. And it may end up somewhere else. So there's this possibility of this being the body could have been in water at certain times. It could have been deposited on land at certain times. It could have gone back in the water. It's very it would be very difficult for them to find her if she had been deposited, for lack of a better word, in one location, picked back up, and they had searched that location already, and then her body was deposited there. So they think they've already searched the land there. What Paul Faulding said was that area where she was found in the reeds, it technically would have been the land searchers that would have looked in that area. Not him, because he's looking in the water where you can look into the water, not in all the reeds and trees. It sounds like she was wrapped up around a tree. So it sounded very like the real mucky area where land and water are combined, and just merging together in the reeds. So he wouldn't have searched in that exact area where she was anyway, because it was just wetlands. So very interesting situation. You can take it from a lot of different angles. That made the most sense to me, but we don't know. Other people are saying, was the body dumped back there? Because if it was, everybody's going to think she was just in the river. Well, they can do certain tests to see if the body was decomposing in water. They can do certain tests to see if the body drowned, if there's water in the lungs, that sort of thing. So there are tests that the coroner, whoever does the autopsy, can do. I know several people have said they need to do 2 autopsies or a private autopsy just to make sure that they're getting the truth, just because this case has been so messy. I mean, it has been. It really, really has been. We do know that the police set the stage literally for us believing that it could have been a suicide. And I say that because not because of my reading. My reading said it could have been a suicide, but later what came out from the police was that she was troubled. There had been a welfare check at her home. She was drinking again. So they set the stage for a troubled person walking by a river and then disappears as well. What are people going to think? A suicide? And that very well could be. But other people are saying being that the police put that theory out there, one, they shouldn't have disclosed a lot of personal information about her. What if she was found? And everybody has that information now. But two, they've also set up the perfect crime because they've explained away perhaps what could have been a perfect crime, right? Someone could have gotten her, done something with her, dumped her back in the river. And that theory has been put out there by many, many people. So we're going to read about all that. We're just going to see, and some of you mentioned a few different things. Like, why would she leave her phone on the bench? Why was the dog dry? The only thing I could think of is maybe the dog, when I take my dogs off walking in the woods, they run off. So if something happened to me and they're over there, they might come back and they wouldn't know where I was. That's the only thing I can think. I don't know. That's my theory. Who knows? So let's see if the body was there. Well, first of all, let's ask about the phone being on the bench. We are going to ask about if the body was there all along or if somebody put it back. But let's ask about the phone being on the bench. So tell us about the phone being on the bench. Because, it just kind of makes you wonder what happened during that work call. If this indeed was a suicide, or was it an accident? We just tell us about the body being on the bench. That's this first one right here. Well, that is somebody that fork cups. That's somebody who doesn't want anymore. They've had enough. I would question about that work call, honestly. I think, as alluded in my last reading about her, there were problems potentially at work. We saw a lot of pentacles, and this person's had enough. You see, it's literally somebody trying to give them more, and they're like, nope, I don't want any more. So was it kind of an overwhelming situation at work where things were just keep giving, and not taken away? A lot of workplaces run that way. They have all these great ideas of the new thing you should be doing, but you've already got like 20 things on your plate and you have no more room on your plate. And you're like, what in the world? Where am I going to even put this? How can I take that on too? This looks like somebody who just can't take on anymore. That's what I see. But I also see the cups, and that appears to me to be emotions. Cups are emotions. So also, I just can't take any more emotionally from this situation. And we're getting that as the phone that was tied to the work call. So you make your own decision on that. We've all worked in workplaces that leave you feeling that way, where emotionally you are just like drained from the place and you can't take anymore. And if you're going through a tough time too, anything at work is going to make it, any difficulties at work or elsewhere, they're going to be just even, escalated because you're already stressed out. They're going to feel more that they're escalated, maybe even more than they are. All right, so we saw a situation not very good at work. Emotionally couldn't deal with it anymore. Let's see about the dog being dry. That one, I do find very strange that the dog did not stay around where she went in. If she did go in down the river, which Paul Falding says she could not have gone in right there by the bench because the water is too shallow. So tell us about the dog. Tell us about the dog in this situation. Because it makes no sense. It doesn't. My dogs, if I went in the river and they saw me go in the river, they'd be in the river. Tell me about the dog being dry. Huh, well, that's the Ace of Pentacles. So the thing that caught me right away when I looked at this was, see this like gate, and there's like another area in there? Right away, it made me feel like the dog was like through a field kind of in another area. And that was sort of what I thought from the beginning could have been a possibility. It just feels like the dog may have gone its own little way and not been like right there. It could have gone off and not right with her. And dogs do that sometimes. It looks like it just went down a path. Yeah. It's got on a scent or something, you know, the pentacle's a tangible thing. Maybe chased a rabbit, that sort of thing. And went off. It was a little off in the distance, is what I see. Okay, let's see. We're going to ask about the body. Was it there all along? Meaning, I'm not going to say in the river all along, because I do believe, as we know now, she was found kind of on the shore in the reeds. So was it there, water or shore, kind of in the tidal area? Let's just call it that, the whole time. So was the body in the water or in the tidal area on the shore where the tide comes up? So tell us about the body being in that location the whole time. And it was a good mile up from the bench, so it wasn't like right next to it. It was up a ways. So let's see about the body being there all along. Was it there all along? Because this is like a big thing that people are, that's interesting. I don't usually read reversals. And here I got a reversal. I try as I might to keep my cards upright. Sometimes they do not go upright. Well, this card, as this, is a fast communication. Things happening fast. This tells me things happened pretty slowly and not in the manner that people may have thought. The King of Wands to me is a little bit questionable, to be honest with you. It looks okay. So we've got wands. I'll take it this way. I can take this two ways. The wands can stand for those reeds. We got a lot of wands in the last one. And the tree, I heard she was around a tree. So this could be saying, yes, it was right there. And the slowness in that card could be that it was there for a while and just missed. I mean, that is a possibility. We've got the King of Wands, as in somebody who perhaps was there and looking, but maybe missed it. But you know, I can take that another way. When we ask, was the body there all along, and we have this man, a King of Wands. King of Wands is like the most sexual man in the deck, and he can not be a good person sometimes. So I can take that both ways. But let me ask, we've got another card. We're going to ask about the body being put back there. That, you know what, maybe I should ask for clarification, because it just feels, I mean, I do see the river and I do see things going into the river, but so it makes me think maybe she was just in that, by that tree. Because the King of Wands is one wand, so by that tree, that's where she was found. That's more the way I'm going with this, but I question it. Let's see the body put back there. Let's just see what we get for that. That should clear up the which way the other one goes. The body being put back. It was, you know, it was found by the road. Everybody's saying if you were going to dump it, that could be the place. So the body being put back there. And with this case, I wouldn't doubt anything. Body being put back there. All right, so we have these two. This is the 10 of Pentacles. This card is a kind of a generational card, things being passed down through the generations. It's actually kind of a happy card, really. There's this older man, younger people, and younger people yet. And we've got all these pentacles, which to me just say the body was there. I don't feel like it was put back there, only because then we have this guy too. So I'm taking all these pentacles as saying the body, the body, the body. And we've got this guy that is in our 9 of Wands. This is a harmed guy, and I saw him before when I've read on this. It looks like, remember I told you there were family issues? And we know now there were. This is a family card. This is lots of the happy family type situation, but this person's feeling harmed and looking at that situation like that's not what I have. That's not how I feel. And this person's very guarded and they're very protective, and you see they even have a thing on their head and they feel wounded. So this person is, as I said before, Pentacles could stand for work too. I do think it's a duality here. I think there were issues at work. I think there were issues at home. I think this person, Nicola, was feeling very wounded. And I think that came out in her actions. I do. Yeah, I do. Hmm. To me, it looks like more somebody distraught. I mean, it just does. Because you see this person that's really sad emotionally, can't take much more. And you see this person who's like looking at the whole family, the happy family situation that they wanted, but they feel wounded by that situation and they feel protective and upset. And I think it's emotionally, wounded, just that not happy, not happy at all. I will say I don't like what I have here with the body being put back. Or the body there all along. And the King of Wands is kind of throwing me on that one. I'm just going to throw that out there. Not 100% that the King of Wands is just saying. It feels like that area moved really slow, so things could get kind of caught up there. It does feel that way. I'm going to ask for clarification on that King of Wands because he's throwing me. I get it. If I just had the 8 of Wands, I would say it was there the whole time. But why is the King there? So let me just ask about where does this King of Wands come in? Okay, I think he's the person who spotted her. Where does the King of Wands come in? And he spotted her there, and I think she may have been there the whole time. That's what I heard in my head. It's the person who spotted her. Tell me about the King of Wands. All right, it's this one. There's the King of Pentacles. Yeah, it is. It's the person who spotted her. The King of Wands was actively looking and searching. On the King of Pentacles, a pentacle can literally stand for a body. And look at what he's looking at. He's found the body. And it does feel like the body, honestly, I think it's been caught up there for a while. People just didn't see it. That's what it looks like to me. They just didn't see it. And it's not the dive team's fault because it was in the reeds. It wasn't in the water per se. It was in the water, but it was in the very reedy wetland, more land part. It was more the part where land searchers would have found it. It looks like it's been there for a while. It's very slow moving there, and it just kind of gets caught up. Huh. That's what the cards are saying. Interesting. All right, so let's go with the. I don't see the body being put back there. I don't. Um, let's ask about suicide. Unfortunately, that did come through in my other cards, and when I'm looking at here, it does look very possible. So let's ask about this being a suicide. Was this a suicide? And we'll also ask about an accident. I mean, the situation doesn't look good for suicide because she had a health check. And the Emperor, again, last time we got the Chariot when I asked about suicide, the Emperor's in charge, right? He is in charge of his own fate. He's in charge of everybody else's fate. He makes his own decisions. Nobody's telling the Emperor what to do. He is the king. He is the top dog. So I do feel like she was the one who decided her own fate, took things into her own hands. And that was alluded to at the very end of my last reading on her. And again, here is the Emperor saying, I'm the one who makes the decisions. That's what the Emperor says. So I do really feel like it was a suicide. I don't even feel like I have to go further. I feel like that is the situation that's telling me that this man found her. He looked where it was logical to look, that King of Wands and the King of Pentacles, and he spotted her. He actively searched through the King of Wands, and he actively spotted her in the King of Pentacles. Again, Pentacle, a land card, because she literally was washed up on the land area, or where the land searchers would have found her. Not happy at home, not happy at work. And unfortunately, it looks like that was what happened with her. Well, I'm sorry to give that reading because it's gloomy, but I don't know that anything in this situation would have been a good outcome. There just wasn't a good outcome here. And now we wait for the autopsy results, but yeah, it just doesn't look very good, guys. All right, take care. Bye-bye.